Hey Oaks, and welcome back to Sisterlocks Saturdays. I'm Bali, and thank you to all my subscribers who keep on coming back to watch. And if you're new here and you like the content, please like and subscribe. Okay, so let's shoot straight into the video. Okay, so during my retightening, my consultant found sort of a white film and residue in my locks, especially just right here in the back of my head, and we think that it was caused by all the sebum in my scalp that it's secreting, sort of having nowhere to go during the time I was taking a hiatus from washing to try and preserve the locks when I didn't know when my next retightening would be. So yeah, I discussed that out. It wasn't just being gross. I discussed it in a previous video, so I'll link that up here. And we think that's just how it got settled in there and trapped. And I mean, with Sisterlocks being tiny, it is very tough to get residue out. So my consultant suggested that I wash my hair every week. And I did that for 2 weeks in a row, and my hair was not loving it. I think maybe the African black soap is a little bit too harsh for weekly use because my scalp was getting dry and itchy the same way it did in the beginning, like when I got my establishment and my scalp was not used to being product free. So I went back to washing every 2 weeks like I had before. But the film is still there, and it's quite hard to get rid of. And it's still a bit too soon for me to do the apple cider vinegar soak. My consultant just said I should wait on that because we just don't want to interfere with the locking process. So yeah, that's a thing that I'm dealing with right now. Now that I've gone back to washing every 2 weeks, my scalp is doing a lot better, but the sebum isn't accumulating as quickly as it did the first time around when I started with my scalp massages. It's just taking a bit more time. So that might also be due to the fact that African black soap is so harsh. So maybe when I finish it, I will look for a very gentle clarifying shampoo, or as gentle as a clarifying shampoo can be, because it is supposed to, strip the oils off your hair. But I'll see what I can find and let you guys know about that. And another thing that I've been noticing is I think I'm having a little bit of unraveling because the loose curly parts just seem to be a little bit higher up on the lock. So it's just something I'm keeping an eye on. I'm not 100% sure, but it's just a suspicion that I have because over the last week I've had, it's really minute bits of shedding, like literally 3 or 4 hairs at a time, like over my whole head. But I was pretty much done shedding as far as the ends that were left loose falling off. So I don't know if this was just, a couple that were hanging on, but it happened twice to me during this week where there were tiny bits of, shedding is what I'll call it. It's really tiny amounts, but it's something that I want to keep my eye on because I was very used to running my fingers through my hair, washing my hair without any hair coming out onto my hands. So keeping an eye on that. I don't think it's an issue yet, but it's something that I'm definitely looking into. And then going into why I didn't post a video last week. I mean, it's not like I went anywhere or it's not like I was doing anything productive. I just wasn't in the mood. You know what I mean? I was feeling very lethargic and just kind of hating everything. And that could be a sign of your body telling you that you're not eating right. I feel like whenever my mood is highly affected, it's usually very easily linked to what I'm eating at the time. And yeah, I was ordering takeout, having more chips. I, had fizzy drinks a couple of times as well, which is something that I've by and large cut out. And so I was kind of starting to pay the price for it. And another thing that happened is I was starting to break out in my underarms, sort of reacting to the roll-on I was using at the time. So I was just thinking, okay, maybe it's time for a detox. I figured, I probably need to just hit a reset. But I was also just very tired of dealing with the reaction to my roll-on. It happens, every now and again, not very often, like maybe once a year, once every 2 years. A product that I've been using for a long time just all of a sudden doesn't agree with me anymore. So I'm just, I've been on the fence about deodorant, like anti-perspirant roll-on for quite a while. With all the talk about the aluminium in them possibly being harmful, I haven't done a ton of research about it, but I've heard about it and it's kind of just been niggling at the back of my mind. And so I just thought, maybe there are alternatives. Back when I was in South Africa, I did try to make my own, and it was a circus. So it did work. I smelled fine, and it did a bit of work to curb the sweat during the day, but it also stained my clothes, and it was very messy to make. And when you're making your own stuff, there's the issue of preserving it, and so having to store some of the mixture like in the back of the fridge so that it doesn't spoil over the week. It was just too much work for me, and I wasn't interested, and I just went back to these aluminium antiperspirants that I was using. And this time I was just the days that I was recovering, so I wasn't putting on any roll-on, and I skip a day all the time, and that doesn't make a difference. So on those days I won't smell bad, but after a couple of days you do start to smell yourself, especially if you're active and you're moving around. So day 2, day 3, I didn't like the smell, and I was feeling self-conscious, even though I was in the house. You don't want to smell bad as a person. So I just looked up what I could do to curb sort of body odor, and something that came up quite a bit was liquid chlorophyll. So it's this stuff right here. Okay. And as with many other supplements, it has quite a few claims, but it's tough to know, how true the claims are, because the supplements industry isn't regulated. But the claims here, they say that it is an internal deodorizer. It promotes cleansing, freshens breath, and this one is a natural mint flavor. And this one is from Now Foods. And so what chlorophyll is a green pigment naturally produced by plants and algae and gives them their characteristic green color. Chlorophyll is critical for photosynthesis, the process by which sunlight is converted into chemical energy. Chlorophyll can function as a free radical neutralizer, may help to support the body's detoxification process, and has been traditionally used as an internal deodorizer. Okay, and they have an asterisk and say that these statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent any disease. So the same with sort of vitamins and all of that. Their efficacy hasn't been proven, and with a lot of them it is hard to prove the efficacy. With hair, skin and nails vitamins, I guess you will have increased hair growth and better nails. For me, I've never seen a big enough difference to swear by them, because my nails grow fast whether or not I'm taking them, and my nails are pretty strong, and after a while they usually make me break out, and so I stop using them before I can see a drastic change in my hair. And that's why I don't really do these growth challenges anymore, because I've tried them and the results are tough to verify, because there have been times where I'm doing nothing in particular and just have like a growth spurt, like my hair growth will just shoot up, and I won't be sure exactly why or what I was doing, but most of the time it's because I'm eating a little bit more healthily, or just my habits have gotten slightly better. So if maybe I cut out alcohol for a while, or I cut out sugar, and just making a more conscious effort to put things in my body that are beneficial. So it's one of those things. But with this one, I figured if I go from being stinky after 3 days to not being stinky after 3 days with no roll on, I'll know that it's working. People make a bunch of other claims about it, about cancer prevention, all of that, and there's really no way to verify that. But the reason I got it was as an internal detoxifier, or an internal deodorizer, not detoxifier. Okay, so I stopped using roll-on for about 3 days, and I was feeling self-conscious, so I was literally trying to apply it around the breakout, and I felt ridiculous, and I was just like, I should be allowing my skin to breathe and not being so self-conscious, or feeling like I have to shower 1,000 times a day, or every time I have a little bit of sweat from moving around. So I got the chlorophyll, and so the first day I got it was the first day I stopped using roll-on for a second time, after that 3-day period. And so that day wasn't bad because I'm often able to skip a day with no issues. And then the second day, the smell wasn't bad, but I could notice it. You know, when you can smell yourself but other people can't smell you yet, I was sort of at that point. And so that was fine with me. And the third day, I was literally odor-free. So this does nothing to stop your sweat. So you will still sweat if you're moving around and all of that. It's not the same as roll-on that also plugs up whatever ducts bring your sweat to the surface. So you will still sweat, but your sweat won't have that sweaty, musky underarm smell that you get. And it also, I mean, with morning breath, it's tough to say because you brush your teeth before you go to bed, and so you wake up okay. But there was a night in the week where sometimes you're just tired and you don't want to. And in the morning, morning breath was not kicking like it usually does if you skip your nighttime brush. So far, I mean, it's very early in the game. It does work. I did skip a day though, and when I skipped that day, the next day I smelled bad. And on the days where I felt like I wasn't, on the days where I felt like the odor was gone, I can confirm that it was gone because my son will never let it go. Like my son is the type of person to tell you if anything is hitting, So if I was smelling bad, and I mean he's also always on me. We cuddle when we watch TV or movies or whatever. So he's quite close to me often. And so if there were going to be any complaints, they were going to come from him because he's Mr. Unsolicited Advice, tell you on the spot. Whereas my husband, I guess, sometimes will try and beat around the bush, and so you'll never get a straight answer from him. But my son will be like, "You smell sweaty," whether or not you've asked him. So there were those days we were sitting next to each other, we were cuddling, and there literally were no issues. So I guess if you're a person who sweats a lot, you might need to use this in addition to an astringent, which is something that stops you from sweating. So I know witch hazel is an astringent, but I don't know, I feel like it might be a bit harsh for everyday use on your underarms. So I'm not sure which astringents you might need to use. I really don't mind the sweat because I don't sweat much anyway. I might need to look into it in the future if I feel like I'm sweating too much or a bit more. And we're going into summer here and summers are crazy. So I might need an astringent. And for now I have talcum powder or arrowroot powder that might do the job, but I'll figure that out as we go along. So let me show you how I take it very quickly. Right over here, I just have a regular glass of water, and with this you need to shake it, and after you've opened it you do need to put it in the fridge. I would be very careful with this because it stains everything, so I don't know if you can see that. It's a very dark green pigment, and it will get on your your hooks and things if you're not careful. And I take a teaspoon once a day. So that's the color it turns your water. So just want to make sure all of that gets out. It can be hard to wash out. A lot of the time when I'm taking it though, I'm in clothes that I don't mind if they get like a big stain in them, like those free t-shirts that we tend to sleep in and whatnot. So so this is what a glass of chlorophyll looks like. It's a very dark green, and the taste isn't bad at all. It tastes like the smell of rain on soil. So yeah, it doesn't taste like mud, it doesn't taste like wet soil, it actually just tastes like soil. I know what soil tastes like because I was one of those kids who used to have non-nutritive cravings. I used to soil, chalk, paper, that sort of thing. So I used to crave that sort of taste. And so I know what those things taste like. And to me, it tastes quite good. So this one has a natural mint flavor. So it smells like it tastes like what it would smell like if it rained on a plot of soil where mint was planted. It's a very natural minty flavor. It doesn't taste like toothpaste or anything. And I actually think I would like to find an unflavored one, so that I can just drink the taste of soil, because I'm completely fine with that. Some people are really offended by the taste, but it really isn't bad at all. And I guess you could just chug it down if you hate it that much. It tastes a lot better than some of the supplements that I've tried. So you should have no issues with that. And one thing I have noticed is that I don't know if it's in my head, but I feel like my skin is brighter since I started taking it. So that might be like a thing. I've been recovering for quite a while from like some scarring from breakouts that I used to have. The times I was trying out biotin and like other supplements. So yeah, so those are fading away after a long time. I didn't do anything radical. It's literally just been many months, and so they're starting to fade away. And hopefully, chlorophyll works well for me, like on a continuous basis, because if I can sort of cut out one thing I'm applying to my skin in favor of something that works internally, I'm really happy to do that. So now I might not have to worry about roll-on and hair products, which is a lot easier on my pocket, which I like personally. So let me know what supplements you take, what they do for you, are they helpful, and would you recommend them? Also, if anyone else has tried chlorophyll, what else have you noticed on your journey? I mean, I'm only 1 week in, so I can't really give too much of a comprehensive list, but one thing I do know for sure is that it does help as an internal deodorizer. Anyway, I enjoyed making this video for you guys, and I hope I will see you at next week's Sisterlocks Saturdays.